G'day everybody, it's Rabid, and today I want to have a quick discussion about PUBG and their new ping prioritization method they're introducing to the game, and to explain why you are never going to see region locking in PUBG and why it is going to become less and less common in games as we go along, especially games where they start getting monetization in them through microtransactions, loot crates and gold farming, etc. First of all, let's discuss what region locking is in terms of the internet and the methods that can be achieved to do this. The main two that are probably of interest to gamers are region locking by IP address, where every country basically has a range of IP addresses from, say, an IP address is the 4 numbers. That's basically like your computer's phone number, we might as well say, to the internet, to put it into basic terms. And every country has their ranges from, say, 1,000 to 4,000. Another country will be 4,000 to 8,000, and so on and so forth. And so, if you want to ban a particular country, if you own a website or a server, you can actually do a list that says, okay, ban all IP addresses from 1 to 4,000. Then any IP that's not 1 to 4,000 can join your server or visit your web page, and anybody, who's between 1 and 4,000 will be effectively blocked. And it can be bypassed by using VPN or a proxy, just changing your IP address to one that's not blocked. The other method, more commonplace one, well, it used to be more commonplace, you'd find it in a lot of games in the late 90s, early 2000s, is called rate capping. Now, what rate capping does, or as kids are calling it these days, ping locking, is you set a server cap on the ping that connects to the server. So, say you've got a game like StarMade, for example, which is a good example because I've got a video down below called about the importance of ping in games, where I use StarMade as an example. Bad example because StarMade doesn't have rate capping, but if it did, so our StarMade Australia server here in Aussie land, we'd be able to go in and say set rate to 200. And what that would do would be anybody trying to join the server with a ping higher than 200 would be kicked from the server, possibly banned. And it was quite common back in the days of Quake 2, Unreal Tournament, Quake 3, etc. And the reasons why is because you want a smooth connection. It's not just about blocking cheaters from other countries, it's about ensuring local players get a smooth, lag-free experience. But we'll go into lag and ping in another video, part of my Do You Even Computer series. So there we go, that's how you region lock areas, quote unquote, because I hate that term region lock, because it's not technically what it is. Most people are thinking of rate capping. Now, let's start looking at a couple of important things here. They've recently, well, in recent times, they've announced their methods of overcoming the cheating problem from China. And they talk about a ping prioritization, which we'll get into in a second. But first of all, I want to cover why you're not going to see this region locking. Why you're not going to see Chinese players or any other players banned from foreign servers. And it's not just the Chinese. Look, I've got foreign friends, and that's an argument here too. It's like, oh, if you rate cap things, I won't be able to play with my friend in country X. And I'm like, well, sorry for your friend in country X. I'd rather play with locals and have a smooth experience. In a first-person shooter, you need to be as lag-free as possible. Any game that requires any sort of real-time interaction. Playing something like RuneScape or another RPG that's all RNG, roll with the dice, you can have a bit of lag. You can play with people on the other side of the planet. It doesn't matter. But when you're playing a first-person shooter, you want that person to be where you think they are, where you can see they are. And often you'll find, if you're playing with somebody with over 200 ping, that you point your gun at them and you shoot them. How many times have you shot somebody in a game and you're like, wait, I shot them, blood sprayed off them, how did they kill me? They should have been dead. When what's actually happening is they're lagging. Where you think you can see them, they're actually 2 meters to the left or the right on their screen. And they have actually shot you first. Because you haven't shot them at all. Your game is lying to you. And that's why the sort of reasons why we want to avoid lag, to give everybody a fair go and an equal chance. So yeah, there are reasons, and that's very important for this next bit, because back in January 11, 2018, they actually quoted on in a PC Gamer article Brendan Green, aka a Player Unknown, who created PUBG, has worked on H1Z1's Battle Royale mode and done a Battle Royale armor mod. Yeah, a bit of one-trick pony. One-trick horse, should I say? Or whatever. One-trick pony? I don't know. I forget the old saying. But anyway, here is a part of that article where they got to what he thinks on the subject of region locking, despite the company itself stating that they were going to look at it. And he goes, it's hard to argue with the article says, it's hard to argue with success and debates about its long-term viability aside. The 1.5 million people currently playing PUBG certainly indicate that it's doing something right. And while the discontent on display is obvious, people looking for a Chinese region lock probably shouldn't get their hopes up. Green made it clear in December that he's against the idea of banning an entire country because of a relatively small number of cheats. Now, I want you to think about that, and here we go to the bit where they actually quote Green. Yes, the majority of cheaters come out of China, but that doesn't mean all Chinese players are cheaters. This idea that just because you've had a few bad eggs, you've got to ban a whole country is a bit reactive, he said. They love the game. Why would we want to restrict them from playing on servers? I just don't get the attitudes of some people. Yeah, he can't understand that the attitudes that we want to play, again, a smooth game, that we don't want lag, that we want to join lobbies that are local where, say, you know, if I'm in Australia, I want to hear people speaking English that I can communicate with. It makes a huge difference if you're in a four-man squad and you're teaming up with randoms and two of them are speaking Chinese and you don't have that communication. It's not racism. It's nothing against the country as a whole. But let's also think about what he said here about the 1.5 million people currently playing PUBG. And him saying, you know, the Chinese hack problem isn't that bad. Now, 1.5 million people playing at a given time, yet they have already banned to date at least 2 million people. So, and he admits the majority are from China. So that's almost 2 million Chinese that got banned from the game. And if you ban them, then the cheating would be restricted to their own region amongst their own countrymen, instead of them affecting other people's servers and gaming experience, with, not only with the cheats, but also with the lag that they bring along with them. So I think it's very understandable. I mean, he either is a complete and utter moron who has no understanding of networking and shouldn't be making bloody games, or he's very, very smart and he's just trying to keep everybody happy, because China would be their biggest return revenue. Now, say return revenue because when you buy a game and you're not a cheater, you buy that game once. $30 for your PUBG, not a problem. Here it is. Now, if you ban somebody, and this isn't just for PUBG and PUBG Corp and Bluehole, this is in a lot of games. You see the same in Rockstar games like GTA 5 and more when it comes to online. People get banned. They make new accounts. They buy a new copy of the game. Especially when it's something like PUBG, where they have already made back the money they paid for the game many times over from selling crates. So, yeah, they could buy a copy. I could buy a copy of a game and they make $30 from me. Now, a cheater that repeatedly gets banned and can easily bypass it because you're either an account ban or an IP ban. Very few people do MAC address banning, which is what they do on video game consoles. That's why if you get banned from Xbox Live, you've got to buy a whole new console, regardless of if it's your account ban or not, because they ban the machine. So you can't ever join on Xbox Live again, and it affects everybody in your household, which is, I think it's a good way, because, hey, if I went to play Xbox Live and found one of the kids that got my console banned, I'd be kicking asses, and they'd soon learn a lesson not to do that shit ever again. So they're making an incredible amount of money, many modern game developers, and thankfully more and more people are seeing this and getting on board with the idea that this is actually true. They're making a hell of a lot of money from the cheats. Hell, for all we know, they're double dipping and making even more money by making the cheats themselves and selling those. There is a lot of money in cheating these days. And you used to see it in RPG games with farming gold. Any time you see a game that has assets that can be sold for real world currency, like loot crates in PUBG, you will see a massive wave of the game flooded, one, by Chinese players, and two, hell of a lot of hacks, who quite often are Chinese. And it's even worse because where I'm paying $30 for a game, somebody in another region like Russia or China, etc., might be getting the game for $20. Or if I buy a game for $50 here in Australia, they could be buying it for $20. So for what I pay for the game, they can buy it 2.5 times. And if you bought something like PUBG from day one and you played it every day and you bought as many crates as you could each week, you could have literally made thousands of dollars by now just from selling loot crates in the past year. Now, if you've ever seen the Steam store and ever sold a Steam card on the Steam store, you'll see, say you've got a Steam card for 5 cents. You sell it for 5 cents, but you only get 3 cents of that. 2 cents of that goes to Steam. Well, it's basically the same for any purchases. They're selling loot crates and keys. Well, I can tell you now, it's not just Valve making their money off of those. I'm pretty sure you'd find PUBG Corp or Bluehole also makes a percentage of those sales. It's free money. So while Chinese are cheating, buying lots of crates and selling lots of crates, they're making lots of money off of it. The same as the people, the Steam card sale trade. Not sure if game developers actually get any money of that, because it says 2 cents of 5 cents goes to Steam. It doesn't say if any goes to the actual games developer or publisher. So what they're doing is called ping prioritization, not rate capping, not region locking. It is ping prioritization, similar to a video game console's matchmaking. And what it'll do is, when you go to join a game of PUBG, it'll say, okay, you're on an OC server. Oh, your ping's under 100, so you must be local. We will put you into the round first, guarantee you a spot on the round. It doesn't stop Chinese from joining your game. It doesn't stop Americans joining your game, or British, or anybody else. It doesn't matter what server you're on. This is how it's going to be. If you're on an American server, Australians and Chinese will still be able to join you. British will be able to join you, vice versa. What it does is it just prioritises what it considers local players, or people with a lower ping. So yes, this will mean it takes longer or is harder for Chinese players to get into foreign servers. And this will be really possibly more effective in countries with large populations and huge player bases like America and England. But for, say, Australians, where we've got a lower population, what it means is we can join a server. And it's a 100-player server, and you have 50 people on the server, the game's going to go, no, we want as close to 100 as we can. We're not starting this game until we've got more players. But we can only pick 50 players at the moment, because we've got another couple of 100 other players already in a round. There's only 50 Australians queued up at the moment for a round. What we're going to do now is we're going to start allowing other players to join, and it will start pulling those players from other regions. So you could end up with 50 players in an Australian server, as well as 50 Australian players or New Zealand players or Oceania-based players on an OC server. And then the other 50 could still be Chinese or American or other massively pinged, high lag players. It is not going to block it at all, and they don't want to block it because there's too much money. They would rather keep the money coming in from China than worry about their Western player base, because the money talks. Screw our experience, because I mean, who the hell would take that attitude? Why would we restrict them from playing on servers? Because, you know what, we don't want to play on servers with cheaters. Now, when I join every round, despite your 2 million ban wave, and I join a server and it's still cheaters and it's the same people, always damn Chinese. I haven't been killed by an Aussie or an American or a Brit that I've thought, oh, they cheated me, I got shot, they were using a wall hack. I haven't seen that. But it's always some player speaking Chinese or with a Chinese name or some random string of numbers. They're the ones that are always cheating. And every 4-man squad round I play, they are there. We played a 4-man squad the other day, and there's a player we see called Panda TV. And it shows how ineffective their current anti-cheat system is. It's because every week we see this Panda TV with a different name. It'll be Panda TV something, Panda TV something, something. You know, it always changes. So obviously this guy, if it's the same guy, keeps getting banned, and he comes back with the same name with some changes to it because IP banning and account banning is not working to stop him. Rate capping was sticking with his own people, speaking his own language. And I think if they were all cheating against each other, they'd grow tired of it and they'd stop playing. There's your lost revenue for PUBG and Bluehole. If they couldn't take advantage of the lag, they would lose players. So they're keeping the Chinese player base happy because that's where their fresh revenues come from. That's where they're going to make their money from. They're not going to make it from me. They're not going to make it from you. We've already bought the game once. We're not cheating. So we're never going to buy it again. Many of us don't give a crap about cosmetic items, and that's what... So they're not making money from that. Hell, I've got to the point now where it's like, oh, screw this. I'm going to sell my crates too. because my clothing has no bearing on how I play the game. I've never given a damn about cosmetics. But the Chinese, they're farming crates, they're selling them. Everybody's making cash, and that's what a company wants. So yeah, this is the whole point of the video. I'll do another video about the importance of ping and networking and stuff with gaming, but this is the whole point. I keep seeing people on articles in the comment section every time region blocking is mentioned, or the ping prioritization method, and everybody's getting all excited going, yay, they're going to finally region lock China, yay, they're rate capping. They're not rate capping, they're not region locking. That is not what's happening at all. You're getting a placebo to make you think they're doing something that doesn't impact anybody. It doesn't. It keeps us in the same negative situation we've always been in, and it keeps the Chinese happy, because if they region lock China, I can tell you now, the huge player base of Chinese will vanish, and that is what they're worried about. They don't care if they got 10 million non-Chinese playing the game. They're not making any more money from those 10 million non-Chinese players, but they keep banning them. They keep selling the crates. They're making a lot of money. And as I said, it's not just PUBG doing this. This is why a lot of gaming is going backwards, because more and more game developers are following these practices. And again, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to find out that some of these developers are actually making the hacks and cheats themselves and selling double dipping sort of thing. What's the solution? Well, yeah, rate capping. If the developers know that the majority of cheats, and they've already banned 2 million people, which is not by any amount a small amount of players, and it is a massive problem, contrary to what he wants to say, then you got to do something about that. And if you rate cap the servers, one, we don't got to deal with people abusing lag, or who just don't understand how lag and pings work to begin with. And it'll also mean we get a better experience, because we're not getting the cheaters. You know, can you not understand this, Brendan Green, Mr. Player Unknown? This is what it's all about. We want a good gaming experience. We don't want cheats. We don't want lag. But you can't see that, because all you and your company's interested in is the dollars, and that's all you're going to focus on. And it's sort of like one of those things. How do you fight against this? The only way we can fight it is if everybody from the West stop playing the game. They'd only have the Chinese players left, and without the West to exploit, the Chinese players will stop playing. Maybe that'll send a message, because we can't speak with our wallets, because we already spoke with our wallets when we bought the game. We can't ask for a refund now. So they don't care. They have our money now. All they're worried about is where the next money's coming from, because they sure as hell know it's not us. But yes, again, they're not looking at the long term, so they're going to cash in right now, because a lot of players, I can see, if they ever make a Player Unknown's Battlegrounds 2, I for one will be saying no. I remember my last experience, you complete disregard for non-Chinese players and the experience they had, so screw you, Blue Hole. But they'll probably go make a new development company and find another battle royale to cash in on, because that seems to be all Brendan Green knows how to do. Take the same idea, wash, rinse and repeat it. And then cry when other people do the same. Anyway, so yeah, that's the situation with region locking. It ain't coming. It ain't ever going to happen. So get that through your heads. All you're getting is this ping prioritization, and again, that's only a placebo effect. I hope that's finally been cleared up for some people who weren't getting it. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next video. This is Rabid out. Bye-bye.